Hey guys, this is EckhartsLadder. Hello and welcome to another Star Wars Legends lore video. Before we get into the content, I just want to congratulate the winner of the prior EckhartsLadder art contest. It was Callie Stormchaser. Sorry I'm a little late announcing the winner on the YouTube channel, but if you guys are interested in getting involved in the next tournament, I'll put a link to the EckhartsLadder Discord down in the description. You can check out all the rules there and submit your art if you'd like. Anyway, on to the fun stuff. The Clone Wars are one of the most talked about areas of Star Wars canon, at least on YouTube I think, but it's been a while since we've covered them over here on EckhartsLadder. Now, however, is actually an interesting time to do so, partially because of The Mandalorian, which shows just how terrifying battle droid armies could be, and how people who experienced that sort of conflict could be forever changed. Unsurprisingly, the Star Wars canon has quite an advantage when it comes to dealing with prequel-era content, which is why we see the Clone Wars play into the biographies of newly introduced characters. However, for the Legends Expanded Universe, much of the content was actually created before the Clone Wars was even introduced, or at least fleshed out. Still, the topic was handled sort of retroactively by many reference books, including, as we'll be discussing today, my favorite, The Essential Guide to Warfare. In a prior video, I talked about the fact that Star Wars droid armies were not used after the Clone Wars, largely because of the stigma attached to battle droid armies and the terrible things they did to the galaxy. However, this stigma, while obviously emphasized by Imperial propaganda, was nonetheless present during the war itself, and what's more, was actively promoted by the Republic. The Republic portrayed clone troopers and other members of the Republic military as brave organics facing off against an unending, terrible metal horde. Brutal droids which did not think, did not care, and did nothing but kill and destroy. Given the propaganda pushing those ideas, it was very hard for the Republic when they then decided that it might be useful to integrate battle droids into their own ranks. Even more problematically, the prohibitions actually went back to after the invasion of Naboo, when droids were seen as tools of large corporations. Nonetheless, that didn't stop some from trying to introduce droids into the Republic. One line was produced by the infamous Tag family, which would go on to serve quite heavily the Empire. The idea was that a line of super advanced droids can be produced in secret, then, once their worth was proven, they could be sold in massive numbers to the Republic. This culminated in the L8, L9 model. The new Essential Guide to Droids has a lot to say about the L8, L9. Here are a few excerpts. Had it not been for Asajj Ventress, the Clone Wars could have become the Droid Wars, Republic L8, L9s versus Separatist battle droids. The L8, L9 had a design inspired by Republic clone troopers, but had integrated weapons, including plasma bursts or sustained jets of flame, alongside dangerous claws and other systems. The L8, L9 was meant to be essentially a stand-in for hazardous environments where organics could not serve. However, per Tag's plan, that was only step one, and with the droids in the door, his idea was to aggressively sell his vision of an entire army. Unfortunately for the Tag family, the L8, L9 was tested at the Rat Attack arenas, where it was destroyed by Asajj Ventress, and the idea was eventually dropped, at least for the Clone Wars. The Tag family, which was continually eyeing large military contracts, again tried to create a battle droid army after the fall of the Republic, which resulted in the Imperial ZX-3. The ZX-3 is almost like a very, very early Dark Trooper. It was created by General Mock, who would oversee the Dark Trooper project, and during the Clone Wars ended up developing an appreciation for both Separatist battle droids and Republic clone troopers. The visual similarity to the clones in the ZX-3 is quite obvious, but like its predecessor, also carries a built-in weapon. However, the politics just weren't right for the time, especially after the droid army had been trounced during the Clone Wars, at least as some saw it, so the ZX-3 never went into production as a mainline battle unit. They did, however, inspire the Dark Trooper, and we're pretty off topic here, so I'll only talk a bit about the Dark Trooper, but they are essentially continuations of the ZX-3 line, and thus also the Republic L8, L9. Again, the issues of a droid army persisted, with it being seen as an old idea that was failed. So instead, Dark Troopers were produced as a sort of ultra-efficient Special Forces unit. Phase 2, which was a full battle droid, was the most prominent, and was essentially a souped-up version of the ZX-3, with extremely heavy armor and built-in weapons. The Phase 3 brought this to the next level, but didn't really exit full prototyping before the ARC camera was destroyed and the project generally was scrapped. All in all, I think it's fair to say that the first battle droids, which would have saw very little action during the Clone Wars, were nonetheless incredibly important and played a major role in the development of later Imperial models and thus galactic history. Now, although nothing has laid this out in an obvious way, it seems likely that the research generated during the ARC camera projects and the development of the Dark Trooper lines would then impact and certainly aid the development of mechanized infantry and weapons used by Palpatine's Dark Empire, which relied heavily actually on droid models, from starfighters to, quite directly, the humanoid SD-10 and the less human X-1 Vipers and XR-85s. But that's all I have for you on this topic. Let me know what you thought of this video and the idea down in the comments. Also, if you have anything you'd like me to talk about in a future video, leave that down below. However, before we leave, it is time for the hashtag AskEck question of the day. Today's question comes from Hunter Allen, who asks, something I always wondered in regards to Star Wars is if animals or other non-sapient creatures use the Force. After all, there are alien races that rely heavily on the Force, for example the Rakata and the Sith purebloods. So I'll answer this question in relation to Legends because that's how you framed it. There are certainly some creatures that interact with the Force. The Islamari, for example, make a sort of bubble which the Force cannot penetrate. That's because their predator, the Vornsker, actually preys on Force-sensitive beings, whether Jedi or animals. There are many others, some which developed within the presence of the dark side, and others like the Syl spook crystals, which just seem to have some natural connection. You may also be interested in a video I did on how some species like the Hutts or Yinchori possess a natural Force resistance, which seems to be some sort of evolutionary reaction to some major danger or pressure in their species history. But that's all I have for you guys today. If you'd like me to answer a question at the end of a future video, make sure you include hashtag AskEck in your question, because that's how I search it in the YouTube dashboard, and subscribe with notifications on. If I answer your question, you definitely do not want to miss it, unless you think my opinion's not very good. But I hope you guys have a great day, and until next time, may the Force be with you.